was out. They pull me back in. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee, Jen Rolnick, Lance Kennedy with us for this abbreviated version of the real Kyper and Bourne show, Leaf edition, just 1 hour. You know, we've said in the past, we don't talk much before our show. We just talk during our show. But this one, there wasn't much. I don't even think I looked at you yet.
World record. Good to see you. Hi,
Good to see you, too.
You guys
Good morning.
talked about your shirts.
We did coordinate. It's an unbelievable.
You didn't get that memo, Sammy?
We communicate. We're like twins, the wavelength we're on.
We've got a jam-packed hour on our Leaf edition. This hour, of course, Jay's getaway, which has caused this early start. So we'll pack it right in wherever you're watching, listening, Sportsnet 590, Sportsnet 360, Sportsnet Plus. Glad you're aboard to at least have us attempt to figure out where we are when it comes to the Toronto Maple Leafs. But am I the only one that feels like you're getting kind of drawn back in? Would Leaf Nation feel the same way? Let's start with you, JB, on the state of the Toronto Maple Leafs after a big win in Boston to prolong this Thursday night.
You know, we spent some time towards the end of yesterday's Leafs Hour talking about would it matter if they pushed the series deeper and still lost, you know, and talked a little bit about the character and what it might say about the team and quitting on the coach and all that. I think we learned something last night. That team could have gone out last night and rolled over. I thought it was one of the best efforts the Leafs have put forth out of the gates of the year.
No, to be fair, you, at the last second of yesterday's show, said you've got confidence that the Leafs can find a way to win. So you stayed a little bit on course here. I'll throw it to our trusted Leaf Nation president here in Sammy McKee, who said, no, I don't want a Game 5 win because it'll just prolong the misery.
Right.
How do you feel this morning?
I'm twisted up.
I love it.
I got no idea how to feel.
I love it. I know.
I got no idea how to feel.
You're not alone.
I sent out a tweet before the show, a poll. I'm like, tell me how to feel. How do you feel? I said, do you believe?
This is the beauty of being a Toronto Maple Leaf fan.
Yes.
Is it's the ongoing twists.
All I know is 56% of 290 votes in 10 minutes say that they believe. So they kind of got us right where they want it.
You're not a Leaf fan if you don't get sucked in.
Yeah.
The way this was always going to go. And in retrospect, I regret not having this take. That I was so downtrodden, that I was so upset about how things went on Saturday night in Game 4. And in retrospect, the obvious take was, they're clearly going to pull us back in here. Like, they are obviously going to bring us back in.
Hey, we did have that conversation,
I know,
too.
but I was too tunnel vision, too mad, didn't have that, didn't see the forest of the trees. Is that the saying? Forest of the trees?
You got it.
Didn't have it. And now, after last night, I'm like, oh, here we go.
The rug comes out on Saturday.
Here we go. There's still a couple games before the real heartbreak kicks in, boys.
But emotion aside, that's a well-played game, a road game where they came out ready to play. You've often talked this season about not coming out of the gates with any purpose or any, piss and vinegar. And I thought last night
it was a role reversal last night. What we saw out of the Boston Bruins in 2 games at Scotiabank Arena was what we saw last night out of the Toronto Maple Leafs at the TD Garden.
Absolutely. Nailed it.
And you're seeing their fans react the way Leafs fans reacted, with complaints about the coach for changing the Boston lineup, complaints about the officials for not getting this or that right. They are frustrated with their team's performance last night. I got a brother-in-law who lives in Boston who said, never been more disgusted at the Boston Bruins than he was last night.
Well, I sent you guys that screen grab, right, from the post-game show of the Boston Bruins. And I'm just pulling it up quickly here. Like, they have like a fan vote on whatever, and I know it's easy for fans to be negative, but they're the team that's up in the series. And it said that the Bruins win in 6, 18% of people think that. Bruins win in 7, 8% of people think that. Bruins lose in 7. 73% of their fans think that. Like, is this a ghost off here, boys?
It's a ghost off.
Is it a ghost off?
Plenty to get into, including Joseph Woll's huge, that might be an understatement,
Yeah, no kidding.
performance last night. But let's go to Sheldon Keefe for our first Kyper's Clipper on what he liked last night.
Aggression, the assertiveness that we played with from the start. You know, we didn't feel sorry for ourselves. We didn't mail it in. You know, we went out to take charge of the hockey game in the first period, and I thought we did a terrific job of that. Tremendous effort from everybody in that first period. Difficult to come out of that with only, you know, at 1-1, you know, but that was, as I said to the guys, you know, between periods is play a tremendous period, yet we're still 1-1. That's how hard this is. That's how tight this is. And you got to just stay with it. It's going to require 60 minutes, and tonight even more than that. But, yeah, the way we went out and took charge of the game and asserted ourselves early, I thought was impressive, and really, really good message from the players to deliver like that.
Okay, so yesterday we had Steve Valiquette on our show.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've been in this business a long time, right?
Yeah.
I've never heard a guy break down goaltending like he did yesterday on our show. And even
If you haven't listened to it, you should go see it out.
absolutely go get yesterday's podcast. Have a listen to the segment with Steve Valiquette talking about goaltending, and in particular, the Leaf situation with Samsonov. And like I said, I've been around this business a very long time, and we've had some great analysis who are goaltenders.
Yeah.
But I've never heard it broken down like he did yesterday. And it's worth a lesson, or a listen, sorry.
It was a lesson.
Yeah, a lesson and a great listen.
Yes.
And you know what? He's very flattering on our show. I know he sent you a text.
Yeah. He
Just do me a favor.
No.
Just read the part
I know.
where he describes our show.
Oh, it's great. He said it's awesome. He loves it. It's the best in the business.
all right.
He's the man.
And I only say that because it's a compliment to you guys.
Yes.
Okay?
Oh,
That's what.
Yeah.
All right? That's the only reason I brought
high
it up.
fives all
now,
around.
bring this right back to the Toronto Maple Leafs, okay? If you listen to Valiquette talk about Ilya Samsonov, and he's been very consistent over the whole season, it just brought me to the conclusion last night that, like, where was Joseph Woll in this picture for the Toronto Maple Leafs in the last 10 or 15, 20 games of the season when he came back? Why was he not considered a legitimate guy to start this series? I believe now, after watching last night, if Woll started this series, they would not be down 3-1 going into Game 5.
Tough to argue with that. You know, when he did have some struggles after his injury, and they weren't terrible struggles, it probably should have been more of a priority. Instead of saying, here's equal starts, one of you, whoever gets better results, plays in playoffs, saying, what can we do to get him looking like he looked before the injury? We know how good this guy can be. What can we do? Because we think the best of Joseph Woll is better than what Samsonov can offer. I'm Team Woll for sure.
And we were consistent all year long. Like, I was blown away, to be honest with you, that like we thought this was all funneled for Joseph Woll to start.
Particularly those Boston starts they gave him were in March, I want to say.
Yeah. March-ish.
Yeah. So, you know, like a month before playoffs, they thought he was going to be the guy too. And then there
high
was
ankle sprain. I know he was out for 2 months, but like to completely write him off as a legitimate starter in this series, to me, was a mistake.
Well,
go ahead.
He's here now.
Is there enough time for him to make it up?
You know, that might be the theme of the article I write today is there enough time?
Did I just write it for you?
You did, thank you. Is there enough time to see through what the vision of this team was supposed to be, where Nylander's in and his timing is good and he's Nylander, and Matthews is in and Marner is in and he's going and Woll's playing well? all these things that you thought made up this team, including the depth and play from Knies and Domi and Bertuzzi and guys who looked good last night. Is there going to be enough runway for them to be the team they thought they were going to be? Because that's a good team. It's just a little janky right now, and last night made you believe they could get there. It's possible to get there.
Watching Woll last night was just like confirmation. Yes, from like it's just like I knew this guy was the best goalie they had the whole time, and I tricked myself into thinking that it was the right move to go to Samsonov to start it. He had a couple bad starts against Boston, like you said, but there's no question who the better goalie is. Like it's just I know, and if you look back on this series and the Leafs lose Thursday night and he's bad, or they lose a 2-1 game and he's really good again, we're talking about stuff that goes on the ledger of mistakes that have been made. You can look back on this and be like, this was a mistake that was made to not start with him.
Yeah.
And this is not to rip on Samsonov, because I do think that it showed a lot from him to
work back from the depths of the
from being waived
Marianas Trench.
to have 31 other teams tell you that we don't want you. That's a big hit for him to have battled back like that. But
he earned next year's NHL contract. Someone will give him one.
He will, JB, but he will, and if they're smart, they will look at him as a very good backup goalie. This guy is not an NHL starter. Okay, he is James Reimer. He's Antti Ranta. He's a good or even a very good backup goalie. But this guy cannot be the guy when the chips are down that you're going to have in net.
No, I would agree on that. Do you want to hear Keefe on Woll, or do you want to
Let's do it.
hum along? All right, clip one, please.
He fought through a tough injury, this season, and then that sort of derailed what was, a tremendous season to that point. But he stayed with it. I think he's, since the playoffs began, or, once we were sort of preparing that last week, once Joe really knew he wasn't going to be starting in game one of the playoffs, it was really obvious to me that he was, going to just continue to work and do everything that he could and prepare as though he were playing and staying ready. So he's certainly done that, and because of that, and how how the game and the series have gone, I mean, we've had daily discussions about when's the right time to get Joe in, and because of Sammy and how he's played and how he's competed and how he's bounced back so many times, including from game one of this series to game two, you stay with Sammy, but Joe showed tonight, why you have confidence in him.
Yeah. I mean, a couple of big saves in OT. In OT, they did not have their best moments, the Leafs.
Well, it was a very short OT, but that first defensive zone pressure for the Bruins was a nightmare factory.
Grade A chance for Coyle in the slot. He pulls out the left leg, if I'm not mistaken. And what does that do for a bench?
Oh, yeah.
Like, how many times have we been in that scenario where we're like, it's okay. Make the mistake. It's not going to cost us.
Yeah. Oh, it's huge. You need that note in playoffs in general, and you can't win without it.
I heard Matt Knies talk about Woll last night. I think they're good buds.
Yeah.
I just cut this clip because this is exactly how I feel about Woll. So Matthew Knies, clip one on Woll.
Yeah, I mean, getting to know him, he's a pretty calm and collected individual, and I feel pretty safe when he's in net there. He's I think he's just very calm, sees the ice well, and I trust him a lot. So
you're just a different team when you have a guy like that, playing like that. So here we go from an unbeatable Swayman to a guy who was better than Swayman last night.
Yeah, and
one save better.
It does change how you feel about things, and boy, it's easy to talk yourself into this being the scenario the Leafs had been looking for here now, and it feels like the Bruins are tripping all over themselves trying to. No one's happy with anything that happened on the other side.
Okay, do you guys mind if I ask you a question about the Bruins playing tight?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I talked about this a little bit last night on Leafs Talk, but, we made fun of the 3-1 thing yesterday quite a bit, and we made fun of Reeves for talking about it, and, we kind of threw it away. It's not something that we were really talking about as a narrative. But the way that game started last night and the way the Bruins looked for long stretches of that game last night, that was the first time where it was like, oh, crap. Is this a thing for them? Like, is this actually something that they're really thinking about? Because to me, I know what that looks like. I know what a tight team in a home game with a crowd that's not as loud as usual, that's not exactly, like, they're feeling it. And I was surprised by how bad they were last night. They were awful.
Yeah, it was Freaky Friday. They switched
Big time.
They switched.
They did.
Like they couldn't get the puck out of their own zone. How many times they had clean possession and it never came out of their zone?
Yeah.
Like that didn't happen earlier in this series. And what did they finish with? 2 shots on goal?
In the first, yeah.
It's
like, that's crazy. At home,
Yeah.
that should be unheard of.
Well, it's so funny because, we talked about coaches and how they spend so much time trying to paint the other team as the team that should win, right? You're trying for that underdog status. I think being up 3-1 and the Leafs being without Matthews is like, you should win. Like, there's no excuses for that Boston Bruins team. It's just like, you should absolutely go out there and just win this hockey game. And there's pressure in that in itself at home. So,
and you mentioned this earlier in our show, Montgomery changed the lineup.
they pulled up Beecher, who made a really nice play easier earlier in the series.
And Grzelcyk, who factored in on the game-winning goal.
Yeah.
That
Tavares got the edge on him by this much. And
like, Tavares doesn't beat many guys on the outside.
For pushing him.
Yeah.
Making,
no.
Making Grzelcyk answer the question.
It was a strong play,
Yeah.
but you watch the hesitation to close Tavares off at the blue line.
He's a good skater, I thought.
And Tavares was smart enough to lure him in,
strength instead,
and then push him off. But that's why Grzelcyk's in and out of the lineup.
And I think it bounced. It went off the side of the net, then off Grzelcyk's skate into the slot. Like
I thought it was kind of side of the net goalie stick, whatever it was. It was in that,
he was in the vicinity.
Yeah.
And I mean, it just what a dream.
Knies came off the bench there.
Dream for Knies.
The other factor was that Max went 10 for 10 in the face-off. Like, you win the face-off.
Max was unbelievable.
You win the face-off. You have puck possession. Yeah. Okay, that's something that the Leafs didn't have again earlier in the series, is the ability to hold on to the puck. I thought Max and Mitch Marner and Bertuzzi set the tone on all of that.
100%.
Yeah, go ahead.
That line, I think, is the next. If we're ready to turn that page, that top line for the Leafs last night was really effective, created a ton of opportunities for them. Mitch looked like Mitch. That's the guy we're accustomed to seeing, and he
had the puck.
He had the puck. He did a good job in that regard. I thought Domi, I don't know if it's going back to center or if it's Matthews not being out, so he's playing differently, but he really skated. When he's moving his feet, he's so much more effective. And that's, people are going, he's 2-on-1s. He should have looked at the goalie. He should have shot. He should have
looked at the goalie's a fair criticism.
It is. No, he should have done something else. But he's getting those opportunities because his feet are moving.
Yeah.
So I'd rather him be putting himself in those spots than not.
All right, let's go to a Kyper's Clipper on the top line from Sheldon Keefe.
Yeah, the line was really good. Max did a tremendous job. Did a really good job of ensuring that line didn't have to spend a lot of time in our end because of how they were skating, how they were working, how they were on the puck. As much as we got guys with lots of skill, and Max is certainly one of them that can make plays to the neutral zone, all that, like, our game and our period and, our start to the game has to begin with a forecheck, has to begin with work and competing. That's the playoffs. That's what this series certainly demands. And that line did that extremely well. They really, really worked. So because of that, they got some favorable pucks, and they got pucks back. They were able to attack the net and spend lots of time on offense. So, yeah, they were tremendous tonight. And credit to Max stepping up, is outstanding in the face-off circle as well. It was really good and clearly needed here tonight.
Okay, well, first of all, Sheldon, they didn't spend a lot of time in their own zone is because you gave them offensive zone face-offs, okay, which you never did earlier for Marner. Marner had defensive zone faceoffs
Yeah, because
predominantly early in this series.
he's their best defensive forward, so they need
Well,
him to do that.
I get it, but
Yeah.
like it's going to affect your offense.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you put them in offensive zone faceoffs, which predominantly went to Matthews' line, and it's a different feel
I mean,
for Marner.
yeah. Listen. Coaches use the term work all the time. That's like a crutch for a lot of them. But to me, that's what that line did last night. Like, they were working so hard, and Mitch was winning battles, which he hadn't been doing to this point in the series.
Bertuzzi he took so many cross checks in front of the net.
Oh yeah, and he hasn't contributed offensively a ton in this series, obviously, at all, if I'm recalling correctly. But I thought he was and Domi, like you said, it's a good mix. So gives you questions heading into the game. If Matthews available, do you stick with Domi at center? You put him right back on the wing. It's gives you questions for sure.
Better Nylander for you?
Yeah.
Still not there for me. To me, especially around the net, the plays that he usually can make around the plays. I know he had the post, the crossbar, but the plays around the net, he's off still.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Even that one, the crossbar, he usually takes that across the net. He makes strong plays across the net.
Yes.
You kind of stayed out wide there.
Yeah.
That's not quite him. But he did have some shifts later in the game where he
Is he building towards something?
where he broke Marchand's ankles in the one play and hit Edmondson with a pass. And, he set up a couple guys that I thought didn't quite put pucks away. So, yeah, it's coming for him. And that's what I talked about kind of off the top of the show is like, it's there. Are they going to have enough time for these things to get realized? Nylander hasn't scored a goal in, I don't know how long it's been, 3 weeks.
Was it 11 games heading into the playoffs?
Yeah.
So now it's 13 games without a goal?
Guy scored 40 times this year. He's like, he's can do it.
Yeah, you would imagine one to cross the line here eventually.
You would think so. And then I guess the other story with that line is, we talked about Tavares a bit. Matthew Knies, really, to me, that was his best game of the series. The OT winner, I had our stats people pull, because I believe he was on the ice for every OT winner against Tampa Bay last year.
He was.
Yeah. So he's on the ice for all of those. He scores the one last night. Going back to college, he scored 3 OT winners in college.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah. Only 13 overtime games he was in college. He had three of the winners.
He is the best player on the team when it just driving to the net.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not, but he is creating holes or the ability to find a loose puck.
Lead the team in goals. In the playoffs, right? But the same, the one Marner hit him with early in the series, same thing. He's going to the post, right?
Yeah.
He's learning that he's a giant guy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go to Sheldon on Matthew Knies.
He's been really building, this series game by game. He's been getting better and better. I thought tonight was terrific. It's very fitting that he gets the winner first on an incredible effort by John Tavares to drive wide and get the puck to the net front. But fitting because Knies worked really hard. It's terrific. Happy as I was waiting outside for those guys to finish up here. It's not lost on you. You got 2 young guys up here that make a real impact in the game here tonight. So that's terrific to see.
And I thought you would have liked that when Pasternak was going at Morgan Riley, he stepped in and said, "Go me, go me,"
and with a laugh.
Yeah,
that's
what I thought.
With a chuckle, like I'm not intimidated. I don't care if it's my rookie year and you're an all-star. I just thought it gave again a feel and a look that was appropriate to, hey, we're not going away. Yeah. We're not going away. I thought that was a big step, and I also loved the Holmberg
I say your
tackle
boys,
with
Holmberg all over Marchand.
With Marchand. And again, for the first time, we're seeing a little, rattled Marchand there.
I gotta say, I've seen so many pictures, and I saw an incredible tweet of sports, but make it art.
Yeah, art, but make it sports.
Oh, yeah, whatever it
is a great account.
And it's just like him looking up at the ref and the realization that he just took a massive dive when a linesman grabbed onto him from the blind side.
He thought the contact was a player for sure.
And it's one of the most satisfying moments. Like I've said a million times on this show, dog. Yeah. All guts, heart and soul, tries harder than he is the heartbeat of that team. Can't question that. But my man's addicted to diving. he spends more time on the ice than he does upright.
Yeah.
Flops all over the place the entire game.
Yeah.
And he took it to his coup de grace is flopping when a linesman grabs onto him. It's incredible.
And then he was really mad at the linesman because he was embarrassed, I thought.
So embarrassed.
Yeah.
See, for me, like once you get past a little bit of Marchand and Pasternak, then it's not that impressive for me.
It's not. No, it's not.
If you can just not cancel them out, but if you can minimize what they can do out there, and make no mistake, it's not just Nylander feeling it. It's Pasternak too, as
He's
well.
looking a little gimpy. He limped off last night.
Yes.
I don't think he's had the same sort of sting in his game that he usually does.
So once you get past those two guys as game changers, wow. Now you should be able to, if you're the Leafs, counterattack the rest of that lineup.
Yeah, it's tough because anything can happen in playoffs, but I doesn't change my feeling that Boston team's not great. And their goaltending has been very good.
Mm-hmm.
But God, I'm looking around the league and you're seeing mediocre teams score goals.
Oh, my God.
You know, like pucks go in for teams. The Islanders, are scoring on Carolina, and Winnipeg pours them in against the, Avalanche, or they were in certain games.
Avalanche pour him in against the Jets.
The Vezina Trophy winner. Like at some point, the second best offensive team in the NHL has to have a night, don't they?
2 was enough last night. Let's go to Sheldon Keefe on putting pressure on the Boston Bruins.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's what you want to do, right? You want to build positive momentum your own way. And, you want to make them be uncomfortable. You want to make them have to pack up and head out to Toronto. Yet at the same time, probably unlike or just like, I should say, us when we're coming here. I mean, I'm talking about, hey, we went there in game 2. We played great. We won the last game we were here. I'm sure they're talking about it just the same. They're comfortable, confident playing in Toronto. So as difficult as this one was here tonight, the next one's going to be even harder, no matter where the game is played. Because now you got their attention again. I'm sure part of the first period is them a little unsure as to how we were going to handle ourselves here tonight. And, I don't think that we'll have that advantage mentally going into the next game, psychologically, but we'll have to make sure, obviously, that we get that right, and we haven't been good on home ice. So, we've earned ourselves another opportunity to fix that.
Wasn't just Pasternak feeling it, I think, on a block shot, but Brandon Carlo disappeared.
So that was
overtime.
He took a shot to the face, I think, which makes me think he'll play next game. But depending on the severity of it, but let's just say he didn't. That would be massive. To me, he's their number one inside defender, maybe like Lindholm more. But either way, he keeps the Leafs to the outside. If suddenly it gets easier to get to the inside, that would be really good news. Even if he's somewhat hampered in some way, that helps too. So. Things swing quickly in a series.
The other thing that's going to put pressure on the Boston Bruins is, to your earlier point, the scrutiny that Montgomery's taking right now for changing his lineup.
Changing a winning lineup.
Right?
Can't get Matthews back in there Thursday. You can't change a winning lineup.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I hate the can't change a winning lineup thing, so I'm fine. I think.
So, but this probably speaks to his, again, a lot of reference to his college days where he had the two goaltenders, Mike Dunham and Garth Snow.
Pretty good duo.
So did he change his lineup up front with the same thought that I don't care about this winning or not winning here? Because to me, he overthought this for me personally.
Like, is Brazeau that much different than Beecher, who had been effective for them? Yeah, maybe. It didn't work.
Okay, so he didn't get the win with Swayman. Now everybody's talking about Allmark. But would he go to Allmark?
You can't. That would be
please
criminal.
Please do it. Yeah, I'd like that very much.
I think that's nuts. I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'd love it.
I
think sometimes in coaching, you would go to the opposing fan base and be like, what would you like them to do?
Yeah.
You'd be like, we'd love you to start Allmark. Let's do the opposite of that.
Swayman's been so good that you got to look at the Leafs and say, hey, you want to win this series, you're going to have to beat this guy 3 times.
Yeah.
Not one.
He wasn't that tested last night. He was very good, but I can't think of too many where I'm like, oh my God, he's stolen from the Leafs there. Leafs carried the play, but they didn't have a ton of excess chances. So he was good. You know what? One thing I want to mention is how about the terrible bounces now off Maroon's skate for the first goal to Frederick, and what was and the one to JVR was a random off a skate to the front of the net.
Yeah, but that's
hockey. I know.
No, but it's not luck. It's a hard forecheck that puts pressure on guys that they. I know the Leafs love going with that 6-foot pass in the middle.
Yeah, they like to get it off the wall into the inside.
I don't like the fact that they're willing to do it at 70%, 80%. Like, to me, that has to be a 100% pass.
To be there.
And this time of year with room shrinking like that, I don't make it a first option.
Mm-hmm. And if you want to talk about,
it's not a
luck.
lucky bounce.
I mean, the puck literally appeared on Matthew Knies' stick at a wide open net in the slot.
Yeah, similarly, I think you can give Tavares credit for a great play
to
get that puck there. And he's conscious. He's not trying to score that one-hander. He wants to put it into a trouble spot.
In a dangerous area.
Yeah.
He bounces.
Causes havoc.
The one thing we haven't hit on for the Leafs, and I know we're going to go to the rest of the NHL quickly after this, or maybe not.
We don't have to.
Okay. Is maybe the best player on the ice past the Marner and Domi for me, McCabe. Jake McCabe was really good. Not just the goal, but I thought he broke the pucks out well. He skated. He defended. He looked good.
To me, it's his demeanor too, and he's a go-to guy for the media. He doesn't say much, but what he says it. He gives me a little at home too in Edmonton, where I like listening to him.
Yeah,
they're straight to the point. There's no sugarcoating. There's no knows or obviously's. It's just straight goods. And I think that type of leadership is so welcome at this time of year for any hockey club, and McCabe is providing it for the Leafs.
Yeah, I was watching him last night thinking about how he's the type of rough stone that you're glad he was somewhere else for years in Buffalo, turning pucks over and making mistakes as he's getting polished into a decent gem here. But he does seem like a really nice find for the Leafs at this point, and I think he probably has some years left being this kind of player, so valuable guy.
He did step up and hammer somebody in a tie game late in the third period. I don't know who it was that he got. Style it in, buddy.
Did you love Jim Montgomery's clip of his thoughts of the game, or is that a waste of 15 seconds?
I mean, I just love how sour he sounded.
Okay, that's worth it for Leaf fans.
Okay, good. Okay, Jim Montgomery, clip one, please.
We weren't good enough. Just simple as that. Yeah, Toronto came out ready to play. They took it to us. We weren't ready to match their desperation.
You're the coach. Isn't that your job?
Certainly part of it.
Yeah, any coach for sure.
And so
it's good. It's good. Look at the smile on your face today. It's fantastic. It's worth playing that clip.
Good. I really just don't. I really find a way to hate every coach the Leafs play against.
I like Jim Montgomery, but I also like Cooper and Maurice. So
yeah, I don't. I prefer Cooper and Maurice at least to be do their condescending media thing where they love being in Toronto and love playing it up. This guy seems like a sourpuss. He just
wow, that's a guy that had no plans on coming back to Toronto.
Yeah,
1 year ago yesterday. So the day of last night's game was the day they blew Game 7 and to Florida.
So what was the script? Didn't they win? Didn't
Florida so far?
Florida won Game 5 in OT, right?
Win, lost.
And make no mistake about it, between Cam Neely, the president of Boston, and the general manager, Don Sweeney, Montgomery's getting an earful today.
Yeah.
So there's a feeling like we blew 3-1 last year. You do not let it happen again.
You will not have a third try to blow a 3-1 lead, I promise.
I don't, yeah. It's
You can't blow 2 3-1 leads. You can't.
Won't get an argument out of me. All right, we're going to take a quick break.
Yeah, let's take a quick break.
We'll take a quick break. Sammy's got game time after the break, more Leafs, and then we'll take a quick look around and try to figure out what the heck happened to Hellebuck in this first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. All right, that and more when we return to Real Kyper and Bourne. Ma, I gotta go. I'm back on air. Okay, love you. Bye. It's my mom.
Yeah.
Hey, you gotta go to
church,
church.
isn't she?
You gotta go to church with your mom. The game starts
It's
late
the holy
anyway.
something. Put in a good word for the Leafs, Mom. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. This hour, Real Kyper and Bourne, brought to you by Bet365. And just a reminder, tomorrow we're back on our regularly scheduled time, 4 to 6 Eastern. Take it away, Sammy, on Game Time.
It's Game Time, presented by Bet365. Visit the app's latest odds to find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. So there's only 2 games tonight. And looks like maybe Vegas going back to Aiden Hill. Some rumblings out of practice that's potentially going to happen. It's going to be a shame to not see Logan Thompson's unbelievable gear set up. I don't know if you've seen his home gear set up.
I never think about these things.
Oh my God, it's just all shimmery gold with the gold bucket. Looks amazing. And a few pucks went to the net, so I guess it wasn't great. But just checking in on the lines for tonight. Vegas is now shifted to a big underdog. They're plus 135 in Dallas. Dallas is minus 160. And the Edmonton Oilers returning home with a chance to eliminate the LA Kings. They are minus 200 on home ice. The Kings are plus 165. Got to tell you, I love the Edmonton Oilers tonight, and I would be willing to put him minus a goal and a half at plus 130. Feels like it could be a bit of a coronation night for them.
She's over.
Where they run it up a little bit.
Can Dallas win this thing without winning at home?
I don't know.
Did they start at home?
Started 2-0. They started 2-0. 0-2 at home.
Yeah.
And then they
You're
went
going
down
to have
there.
to win a game at home then, I imagine. It'd be good.
Like, what is going on there? How does this become a road series?
Have we not discussed the coolest moment of playoffs so far when McNabb absolutely trucked Stankoven and McNabb was feeling his oats and he got the puck 4 seconds later and Jamie Benn put him into the ground?
Those are bone crushing.
Oh, the Benn on McNabb hit is monster.
I just,
Like 3 seconds after.
I love hockey. I love that that's just still allowed. Just a couple of guys
I love ice cream.
just hammering each other.
But it also wasn't like 2 games later retribution. It was like immediate payback, which I really enjoyed.
And just a quick check-in on the Conn Smythe, as I like to do. Connor McDavid, still a huge favorite. Nathan McKinnon, moving up at 12-1. Matthew Tkachuk, 14-1. Jake Gensel, the 4th favorite at plus 1,600.
Wow.
Freddie Anderson, plus 1,800, holding strong at that number for Borny. And Sergei Bobrovsky rounds up the top 6 at plus 1,800. Number I love, boys, is Cale Makar at plus 2,200.
Oh, wow.
I watched him again last night. He took a weird hit. I don't know if you saw that. Got the wind knocked out of him. He was looking a little concerning, but finishes the game. Love Cale Makar plus 2,200 for the Conn Smythe.
Yeah.
So that was Game Time, presented by Bet365. Visit the app for the latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
Can we just talk about how cool it is that the NBA always has their best teams go through and the NHL doesn't always? Rangers, Carolina, Florida through in the East right now is that's
good.
our 3 best teams.
So just to touch base on your Conn Smythe, is there any room at all for Austin Matthews to get back into that mix at all? Is there any chance that could happen, Sammy?
I would like him to maybe get back into the game before we start talking about the Conn Smythe.
Yeah.
What do you think? Where's the vibe on an Austin Matthews return for Game 6?
I am lost, man. I get so many messages about this. I haven't got this many messages since the Corey Perry fiasco. People going, "What are you hearing? Do you actually know?"
I haven't got as many messages about this since the start of the week with Willie.
Yeah, but the injury thing has thrown a wrinkle into it. Elliot last night mentioned the injury thing as well. We talked about it at some length yesterday about this being introduced into the whole procedure. And the way he skated last game with coming out, testing something, being like no and leaving, seems to point more to injury than illness.
What did you see last night without Austin Matthews?
I saw better play from their support guys. Like, to me, it's a passengers thing where you're like, okay, we can't just sit back and watch Austin do it. We need to be better.
And that's the first thing. I did a post-game hit with Ivanka and Ken last night. And what I saw was for the first time in weeks, a team not trying to funnel pucks to 34.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. No, I agree. And I think, there's one thing for sure. He's not the problem on the power play. I had that big takeaway. Yeah. Power play still stinks without him. But no, you're right. I just felt like they are so much different without him. I know that's easy to say.
It alleviated a lot of the pressure. And
wonder if it's a good way to break that addiction
chasing
and then
70, and I got caught up in it too. But, I did tell you guys months ago, I don't want to see what I saw. And it happened anyways, but it was this tsunami and you couldn't stop it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
runaway train.
I understand that part.
Could have stopped
it. But here's the but.
Yeah.
It had a negative effect, and I think last night proved it.
100%. I don't know, there's no doubt it had a negative effect. They just absolutely tractor beams for where's 34, and it felt like a team trying to get him the puck, and then that bled into playoffs a bit. So
they stopped playing hockey.
Maybe this breaks them of that addiction a little bit, and then you can reintroduce him when everyone else remembers how to play hockey. That would be a good thing. Are you hearing anything about his potential availability, about what he has?
No.
Is it illness? Is it injury?
I'm just with you guys. I get mixed messages, mixed signals that there's more to just an illness. They chose the word illness. Everybody focused on illness.
They've unchosen it, though. They've unchosen illness.
No. They've added.
They've also selected another
compounded it.
No, they sprinkled illness with a topping of injury.
Injury sprinkles.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I think at this point, if he does come back and he is relatively healthy, you're adding now to what they reestablished, I think, in Game 5. So that's we all know they're a better team with 34 in it.
Yeah.
But it has to have the right look for 34.
I don't think he plays.
It's hard to believe he'll play.
After 48 hours of not playing, can he come back?
Well, if it's injury and he's too injured to play, it's harder to believe. Illness, I couldn't. If it was just illness and he didn't play last game, I was on the team being like, what are we doing? But if there's some injury, that really does complicate it. So
the more we get away from this and the more we talk about it, there is just absolutely no way that it's just for illness. Clearly. There's no way he doesn't play if he's sick last night. So
I go to the fact that he made the trip. I go to the fact that he went to the rink in the morning, put on his equipment. He got out there. How sick can you be?
Yeah.
Right.
Couldn't go.
Right?
So not illness.
Yeah.
Not illness. Mm-hmm. And if it is illness, then
I didn't see anything for injury outside of the bonk he took in Game 82.
You got to make up a disease if it's illness.
Oh, yeah. You need to create a brand new one that no one has
bubonic,
ever.
That's right.
The bubonic plague.
The Matthews plague. It's a new one.
You got to paste medical book pages together and come up with something new.
Yeah. To be like, we couldn't solve this one. Call house.
All right. Any word on the power play at all? Like you just mentioned, you know how I've always pushed for 2 units and, create a competition with your B unit. There is no B unit. You cannot, there's no secondary power play.
There's a PU unit.
There's a non-existent. Whatever look you saw in Game 5 that looked like a trail of a second unit is horrible. It's even worse than the first unit.
I was watching when Riley took the puck across the blue line. He broke it in clean and was like, it wasn't under pressure. And then he just banked it back out of the zone. And I didn't even flinch. I was just like, huh.
That was fun.
What are we doing? It's just lost.
And
all right.
The heartbreaking thing is Leafs have gotten an awesome whistle. I mean, 17 power plays? 17 power plays through 5 hockey games is awesome. That's plenty of opportunity. Yeah. Score 5, score 4. You don't need to be running at a 40% here.
3-2 Boston if they get 2 more.
That's it.
That's it.
1 for 17.
All right, we beat it up pretty good on the Leafs. We only got a few minutes left, but thoughts on Winnipeg. Canada losing one team last night.
I'm ashamed, not at Winnipeg. I'm ashamed of myself for picking Winnipeg after watching Colorado.
Agree. I have nothing else to add on that.
Because Colorado, they've been through the wars, they've had their playoff successes, and they just look like a better hockey team.
They were getting faster as the game went on.
Yeah.
Like they were getting faster. Like Winnipeg had no answer for that speed.
It's such a reminder that in the biggest times of the year, when you have these elite guys, they're the guys that pull you through.
Rantanen just ripped their guts out at the end of that game. They tie it up, and he's just
to me, though, the engine on Nate McKinnon is unlike anything I've really seen. Like I watched Mark Messier. And that's an engine.
Who's the
Nate's
guy?
an engine.
Who's the rusher for Kansas City? Is it that they were comparing him to? Remember, the Kansas City Chiefs running back. There's one of these guys. Was it Pacheco?
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. The way he runs, this, power, angry, trying to go through people rather than around him.
But it's his lateral movement too. You can't guess if he's going left or right when he's coming at you 1,000 miles like a freight train.
Yeah.
And yet he's not on these rails that turn like a train. He's like split second. You can go left or right.
Yeah. No, he's brutal to manage. I just can't imagine. I would almost rather play a game plan for McDavid because he's going around.
That Winnipeg defense just not even close.
Doesn't help when they shoot in their own net.
That doesn't come close to being good enough.
No.
Pionk just shovels that one home.
Yeah.
Tough break. Vancouver.
Yeah, Vancouver.
They got a Pedersen problem, boys.
Yeah.
No good.
Did Nashville look like a team that said in those dying few minutes, we're not letting them back in here like we did last game?
Yeah.
Like they shut it down.
Yeah, they did. It's they got their hands full because Nashville's a complete team. You're going to need. I talked about your horses. You're going to need your horses to come through, and when Pedersen's struggling like he is, it's a major issue. By the way, for Matt and Matthew's defense, Luke Shen missed the game with illness, so it does happen in the postseason. Apparently,
I will say, watching Zadorov play, God, I wish it was on the Leafs defense core.
Yeah. Zadorov is very good.
He last night, that's a 0-0 game. He comes flying through the neutral zone, shoots one under the bar on Saros, gets that building rocking. He's hammering guys. It's like,
yeah.
Could use that.
Impact player for sure.
They could use that. And what did they get him for? Was it a 3rd-round pick or they got him for nothing?
They got him for not having tree living. That was the acquisition cost.
A great point by you, sir.
Yeah. You'd pay 6.5 for that, wouldn't you? Next year?
Yeah.
6.5.
There's going to be games where we would come in here after that and you'd be going, we're paying 6.5 for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know. I get it.
Yeah, there's enough upside that you'd be.
He has 4 to 5 highlight reel hits in this series already.
Yeah.
He's a mutant.
Fun guy.
So you think Petey's going to be feeling it now?
I mean, how can you not?
He's just the type, isn't he? Like the playoff type of guy where it's like.
He's just got that. It's just, there's nothing there.
I had someone write me and be like, can a hockey player be depressed during a game? Like he just looked sad.
Got a bad look in his face.
Yeah.
I know the look.
Yeah.
I've watched a lot of Leaf games where some of their stars have had that look. That's why I loved on the bench when they were MFing each other on the bench. I'm like, oh, that's new.
Hey, I came in here and
nice.
said the same thing. I said, that's fine. That's progress. That's good.
Just seeing the ghost face from Pedersen would terrify me.
It's a good thing they got a guy like JT Miller who just will take you through a wall too. So
killer.
Kyper's favorite player in the league.
Saros too.
He's very good.
It's kind of good.
Yeah.
It's an advantage.
What do you like? You like Dallas or Vegas tonight?
I just want to say goodbye to my New York Islanders.
Oh, yeah.
Who gave Carolina a valiant push.
Hey, listen.
Wasn't for Stanchion.
Way worse.
Think about where they were before they hired Patrick Waugh and how they finished.
Yep.
Right decision.
Yeah. They pushed the Canes pretty good, even though it was a 5-game series.
Okay, that's a quick hour for us on the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. We're glad you came along a little early.
Sammy's off to the course. You can tell by his attire.
This would have been really bad if the Leafs had a loss and wore my golf stuff today.
Sammy, can we get rid of these J afternoon games?
No.
Next year?
Yeah, let me call Mark. Mark, Shaps? Shapiro? What do you have to?
Shaps.
Did they win last night? I don't even know.
No, they lost. They scored 1 run.
They did?
Yeah. They can't score.
Right. Well, better luck to our Jays this afternoon.
Sir.
They better win because they bumped us off our spot. But we're back tomorrow on the Real Kyper and Bourne Show.